While you are watching the video, you are going to hear the answers to these questions. Please pay close attention to the video so that you are prepared to answer the questions here and here. Open this document in Google Classroom, your Gathering Evidence graphic organizer. Take a moment to pause the video and read the information that is on the graphic organizer. In this first blue column, you will be gathering quotes, or evidence. When we cite evidence from a book, it means that we copy the words exactly how they are. You can see that in the first few boxes, I already have quotes written for you. Gathering quotes is part of our objective today. Remember, we want to be able to cite text-based evidence in our work. In the yellow column, you have to make a connection between the quote and this question. When you read something in the book, I want you to be able to tell me, how do culture, time, and place influence the development of Salva and Naya's identity? The information that you write in the yellow section will be an inference or it will be reasoning. What does it mean to infer? When we infer something, we look at the evidence that is in front of us and we connect it to something in our background knowledge. So, to infer means you look at evidence and you reach a conclusion about that evidence by using your background knowledge. For example, when we were talking about Chapter 2, we looked at Nia's section. In Nia's section, it did not say that she wasn't wearing shoes. However, the evidence showed us that she was getting thorns stuck in her feet, and we realized with our background knowledge that when people are wearing shoes, they do not have to worry about getting thorns stuck in their feet. Therefore, Nia is not wearing shoes. I'd like to give you another example of an inference. Last week, when we looked at this map, we noticed a dotted line. Then we looked at the key in the map and noticed that the dotted line meant that it was Salva's route. We put these two things together to infer that Salva would have a journey in the book. Let's look at page 2 of the novel. I'm going to read the first 2 paragraphs on page 2. His eyes kept flicking toward the window, through which he could see the road home. Just a little while longer, a few minutes more, and he would be walking on that road. The teacher droned on with the lesson about the Arabic language. Salva spoke the language of his Dinka tribe at home, but in school he learned Arabic, the official language of the Sudanese government far away to the north. 11 years old on his last birthday, Salva was a good student. He already knew the lesson, which was why he was letting his mind wander down the road ahead of his body. Later on page 2, we see this quote. Salva had 3 brothers and 2 sisters. As each boy reaches the age of about 10 years, he was sent off to school. What we need to do is connect this quote to this meaning. What we know from chapter 2 is that girls must stay home and learn to keep house. So over here, in meaning, something that I might infer is that in Salva's culture, schooling is only for boys. He feels grateful and tries to take school seriously. You'll also notice these check boxes here in the blue and yellow columns. This quote is about Salva, so I'm going to check off Salva. Because this quote is about how in Salva's culture, schooling is only for boys, I'm also going to click off the culture box. There's nothing we are going to put in this red column for now. Do not worry about the red column. Let's look at row 2. The war had started 2 years earlier. Salva did not understand much about it, but he knew that rebels from the southern part of Sudan, where he and his family lived, were fighting against the government, which was based in the north. Again, this is about Salva. What this means is that Salva is growing up in the 1980s. We know that he is 11 years old in 1985. The war started 2 years earlier. How does this affect his identity? Perhaps this affects his identity because he has to run away from the fighting and be on his own, not with his family. So, this time period is very significant and will certainly impact his identity as he grows older. And finally, let's look at the third row. It would take her half the morning if she didn't stop along the way. Well, we see her in the pronoun she, and we know that the girl who is walking a long way is Nia. The question we want to ask ourselves is, what does this mean? She lives in a place where she has to walk a long way to water. And we already learned a little bit about the climate of this place. So I might write, the place where Nia lives is very hot and dry. She has to walk a long way every day. So she probably is very patient. I don't know this for sure, but I'm using my inferencing skills to put this together. If I had to walk for 8 hours every day and I didn't have shoes, and I know I just need to get to the water so that my family has something to drink, I'm probably a very patient person. Clearly, the place where Nia lives is going to impact her identity. As you continue this work, make sure your graphic organizer is open so that you can take notes.